Folks, we are live. Woohoo, and on time. So
Wow. There's a
figure
first time for everything.
figure that one off. Or
Shadow and Sun.
Shadow and Sun are in the house. Folks, welcome to Gamers Health. I am Erik Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And this is my lovely wife, Rachel.
Hello.
If you've been watching this, and if you haven't been watching this, I'm very surprised you're watching now. How about that? Not to say anything about it, but just saying as a comment. You know, if you haven't been watching this in the past, it's your first time. Welcome. Now, there's a frequent, not complaint, but comment that the live streams on this channel are good, but they don't seem to have a theme. Sure, they do. They don't have a theme. Wednesday night, Mike and I generally have a guest. That guest generally has a project, and we spend the first hour or so talking with our guests about them and their project and what they're good at and all the other stuff. And then we dive into some of the weeds often of what's going on in gaming. Every other Friday night, I'm with Glenn Hallstrom. Glenn and I, however, will not have a show next Friday because Rach and I will be at ShireCon. Also means there probably won't be a Gamers Health as you know it, although we will be doing something on Saturday night from ShireCon. Some of our regulars will be there. So how can we not do something with regular guests of the live stream or viewers of the live stream with us? But Glenn and I will be doing our live streams the last Friday of the month, this month, which I believe is the 30th, maybe, and the first Friday of October. And then the other Fridays, it's the random generated party. And yes, trust me, we always have a topic, more than one. We don't always get to them all because we really do a lot of feedback off of our.
So they might be a little tangential.
Might be. Listen, you usually have anywhere from 4 to 6
They
hosts.
usually get around to the point.
Hey, listen, Rob Conley brings us down rabbit holes that some of us just aren't expecting. Like yesterday's episode was a lot of fun, though. As a participant, I thought it was a fucking blast. And then, of course, you have Gamers Health. And Gamers Health, Rach and I do come into every episode with a theme, a general theme, with something that we plan on talking about. And it often goes beyond that. And that's fine, too. There was talk, we were supposed to have a special guest this week, but there's been a lot of events going on in gaming involving our potential special guest. Tammy, welcome.
Hello.
So we'll have Michael Hovermill on later this month, early next month. There were just a lot of balls in play this month, and I was speaking with Michael a decent amount of time, just never about Gamers Health. Just kind of got put to the side. So, but in a way that's okay, because for me, this weekend is one of those hard weekends, hard times of the year for me. And a lot of times, for many people, there are the times around when, I don't know, anniversaries that
like death
right,
or
not good events,
birthdays, people who have passed.
I do know that with my son's grandmother, my ex's mother, she goes through. I mean, she has her own issues, but her depression is enhanced,
a lot more intense
around the
she's
time.
More symptomatic
Around the time of her daughter's passing and the birthday. So the birthday's
so we've
coming up.
November and February for her.
Yes.
So she needs a little extra looking after.
Yeah. So for me, my time, and not that this the only time again, getting out of time when my ex passed, of course, it's trying to brings back memories, brings back events, but for me, a lot of it is September 11th. I mean, that's going to be tomorrow. It really snuck up on me this year. And I guess that's a good thing because sometimes Rach knows I can get a little brooding around the season.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of energies and emotions, good and bad, wrapped up in all these events. And in the case of me and 9/11, I guess if you're going to wrap it down to a single statement, I have a survivor's guilt. It's compounded that we lost a member of my gaming group. We're talking about gamers' health. Member of my gaming group from high school and college who survived the attack on the towers in 93 was lost in 2001. And he's the reason why my gaming group is together, usually in May, June, sometime around when his birthday would have fallen, in his memory, and to make sure that we don't lose connection amongst ourselves, amongst each other, for what it is that connects us. So I have guilt that I was down there and I survived and he didn't, but it's not just because it was Paul that we lost, but because of the number of first responders that we lost. I didn't know any of them personally, but sure felt like he did. I still remember, God, I can't remember her name. The female officer who passed, I remember hearing her screaming over Citywide 1.
Randy.
It wasn't Randy. No, I worked at the Randy that day. But I heard her scream over Citywide 1, which was our emergency frequency. So it was like, oh, it's a mobilization frequency. Everybody's on it that's down there, and you heard it. You live with that memory forever. I will say I'm very thankful that I did not see. I was not in a position when Tower 2 came down, because we were still in our van by City Hall. The angle was not a good angle. The same thing at the very top of the buildings, and my eyesight was not the best even back then. I could not make out bodies dropping. I got that story directly, though, from a detective later that day who was doing crime scene. So a lot of stuff just builds up into you. And you would think, well, now we're 21 years removed from the incident.
That's the thing. It still feels so fresh because it gets so compartmentalized in the brain. And then, like, something comes along and touches it. Whether that's another traumatic event, whether that's just, the anniversary of the event, and then it's sort of like a floodgate kind of open.
Right. And it's weird for me because it feels like yesterday. And at the same time, it feels like a lifetime.
Yeah.
It feels like, and it wasn't just the day itself. It was the months afterwards. It was the 70, 80-hour work weeks, working 6 days out of 7.
Right. The whole thing of, like, being down there chronically for 6 months.
And actually, for longer than that.
Yeah.
For the time, I used to drive home on the Triborough Bridge, and you drive home on the Triborough Bridge, you'd be looking south at Manhattan, and you would still see that pile burning months and months afterwards. So that, again, it stays with you. And one of the few times probably one time in my life, I've ever said, hey, you know what? This was in the months afterwards. I was like, maybe I need help. And there was no, the system of support was not really in place by the city, by the federal government. But nonprofits and charities came up, and people were doing, social workers and psychiatrists and psychologists were donating their time to deal with us, those and all the survivors. And I still remember going when on my time, and I'm getting verklempt. Talking about my experience, my guilt, the fact that I would lie in bed. I used to love thunderstorms. I would lie in bed and I hear the thunder roaring in, and I would literally roll out of bed and get under my bed because
that was the building coming down.
That was sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember being told after my 45-minute session, expect to be told, you're fucked up. And it's like, you're perfectly normal. Like, excuse me, I'm perfectly what? You're perfectly normal. I can't be perfectly normal. She goes, no, you're perfectly normal. If you weren't reacting like this, she goes, I'd be concerned. And if you hadn't come in to find out if you were right or not, there might have been a problem. She goes, no, you're handling it fine. I was like,
right, you were doing much of the right things.
Right.
Yeah. We're never doing all the right things.
Right. And that's not going to happen.
Definitely. I think for a lot of people in our area, alcohol use increased, and
there was no time.
We were looking for.
There was no time for that.
Yeah,
we didn't have too much work.
Yeah, but people look for ways to comfort themselves.
Yes. And I still...
Some of them healthy, some of them unhealthy.
It took about maybe about 8 months before the job was like, holy shit, we really should bring these people down as a group.
It's like, yeah.
Because they couldn't do it earlier because it was
too overwhelmed.
It was too overwhelming, and the staffing wasn't there. So once things started sorting out, they brought us down, the 8 cops and my boss, to talk about it. You know my sense of humor. You've seen me on this channel. You've seen how I joke about stuff. And it wasn't just me. We were all that way. It was the most morbid joking going on.
Yeah.
And we all told, I don't remember whether it was a medical professional or not. We just said, listen, no disrespect meant and intended, but you didn't go through what we went through, so go fuck yourself. If you really cared about how we were feeling, we would have been doing this 6 months ago.
Right.
Now.
So people didn't take what they needed from it.
No.
They didn't trust it.
Not at all. Not even Michelle at the time. The sergeant.
Yeah.
God bless her. Good friend of mine. Because it was being done more as a CYA, as we saw it. Well, it's before we have a rash of suicides, let's make sure that we debriefed everybody and we can say we covered ourselves. Tammy, thank you for sharing your words.
Your words and experience sounds fresh, like it was yesterday, and reminds so many of us who were not there that others still carry the weight of that day. Yeah.
And thank you for reading that, Rachel.
You're welcome.
I got caught in my throat.
I heard that.
And that's a great...
So they can look at the top of my head for a minute.
There you go. But it sticks with you. And I'll be good and not think about it. Now, tomorrow is going to be rough because tomorrow I used to get up to watch the reading of the names.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they do it as much anymore. I know they kind of stopped. And
COVID. Mayor Bigberg. Mayor de Blasio.
Before
he took it off.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Tomorrow, my phone is going to blow up around, I don't know, usually sometime around 9, somewhere between 9:12 and 10:30. And it's text messages from people who I get text messages from once a year. Of course. It's the 8-1. It's the 8-1
that you were out there responding on that day.
Yeah.
With. Mm-hmm.
And that's a bond that you don't ever lose. Now, I've mentioned before, I'm a Hodgkin survivor, and I got Hodgkin's in, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years after 9/11.
Yeah, probably 5 years.
Yeah,
2006, I think you said.
Yeah, so Hodgkin's, it's lymphoma. It's a cancer of the lymph nodes, and yes, I was the jackass who survived it. I was out of work for 11 months. Job was really great. Paid me a full salary at that time. I've never complained. And once I was back to full duty, literally right like 2 weeks after Rach and I got married, my oncologist told me, he goes, "You're cured." I go, "What?" He goes, "You're 5 years clear. You're cured." He goes, "It's not coming back." And that was a miracle that I took out of it. And I was happy with that. And so my old CO, a good friend of mine, called me on my phone to pretty much yell at me a couple of years ago because he found out that I had not filed for 9/11. Because, as his words were, and my words to him were, "Boss, Cap, I survived. All I need."
Yeah, you were like, "I'm alive. I'm good."
There are people that, families, the families of those that we lost, then or in the years after, I felt they're the ones that was in place for. But that's the kind of connections you make during your life. And only
people that still look after you.
Yeah.
And feel responsible too.
Lad, don't make me give you a fucking order.
I ordered you there.
Yeah, I
ordered you now.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, Cap. So Paul, another Paul. I'll go figure that one out. Mm-hmm. Another Paul to thank. So these are the things that we carry. These are the things that define us. All right. I mean, like the one thing I learned something very important about myself on 9/11. Fight or flight, I fight. I might crash, everything's done, the immediacy is done. I am now home stripping my clothes off in front of my house and putting them into a garbage bag before stepping in and throwing myself into a shower. I had no idea what was on me. But I learned a lot about myself that day. Right? Sometimes people can live a whole life and never know what there is to know about themselves when it comes to those situations. And I will never, like I say, it was a horrible day, but I can take that one good thing out of it is that when shit came down, people I worked with did what had to get done. And I had driven the van down, and I turned to Michelle because building 2 was coming down. And I turned to Michelle and was like, "Michelle?" And she's like, she saw my eyes and she goes, "Exactly. It's been a pleasure working with you." I'm like, "All right. So, boss, what are we going to do?" She goes, "We're Bronx cops. What do Bronx cops do?" I go, "I don't know, hit people and yell at them." And I was joking because it's what I always do in stress. And she was like, "Exactly." And that's what we did. I took my nightstick. I people that were stunned looking back over their shoulders, I would whack in the back of their ass, semi-lightly, and yell at them and say, "What the fuck are you looking at? You've got legs. Use them. Walk. Run. Away. I don't care where you go. Away." And the amazing thing in situations like that, that people need the prodding when they'll walk up to you. Again, building 2 has come down. You hear the roar. people are screaming, panicking, and you have somebody come up.
Why isn't the subway working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were right by a subway stop.
Yeah. Are you oblivious to everything that's going on around you?
Are the trains working? I go, no. How am I going to get uptown? I go, your fucking feet. Like, that's a long walk. I was like, oh, don't even fucking start. But they're in shock, right? I mean, we were all, to some extent, in shock. And that's part of it, is dealing with it in a way to get them out of shock. And sometimes you can get people out of shock with a little sense of humor. Not a lot of times. And it wasn't certainly the way a Bronx cop was trained, but it's the way I am. Tammy, I was at, if you know Manhattan, if you know where where City Hall is, we were...
The City Hall Park?
City Hall Park. City Hall Park is right across from Brooklyn Bridge on the Manhattan side. So you hit the ramp to the Brooklyn Bridge, all that feet on is where we were. So that bridge, you would think the bridge actually stops at the water's edge. No, it goes in like nearly a mile.
Near the Brooklyn Bridge station of the number 4 train.
Yeah. And that's where we were. We were actually on the sidewalk. It wasn't where we were supposed to report to. We were supposed to report to the foot of, we'll figure this one out, building number 2. Wow. That was our report location, was front of World Trade 2. This is as far as we got because, in my best judgment, I was driving. I was like, there's a sea of people coming up these avenues. It's just, I mean, you've seen movies, the horror movies of like people running through Manhattan. Listen, they don't run like that in panic. They move as a slow moving mob, and it really makes you think of, I guess, like a lava flow. You know you're not going to have any impact on it. So I got us up onto the sidewalk, because the sidewalk had a little bit less pedestrian traffic. And I got us up onto the sidewalk, and this woman in a business suit with short blonde hair, very short, shoves a lieutenant's shield in my face and starts yelling at me and my sergeant, "Sarge, I want your 8-1 stationed here for directing crowd control." Whatever she was saying didn't make a difference, because at that time, as she was yelling at us, I felt the ground shake. And that's when I looked at my windshield and saw building 2 was
coming up the street.
Well, it was coming down at that point as a house of cards. So
right.
So when we would get out, we got, everybody did what they did. One of the cops that worked with Randy wound up being on, I think, on the cover of People. Randy saved a life, and the guy's mother would call the command on a weekly basis to talk to Randy. Sweetest thing. The guy had a metal rod sticking through his head. But Randy had been an EMT prior to becoming a cop, so she, did what had to get done. So the funny experience of that day, that incident, was yelling at people, whacking people, getting them moving, and then you saw that wall of shit coming at us. And I'm going to say 20, 30 feet tall, sounded a lot like the roar of thunder or waves at the beach, or a combination of that. And it kind of was like that beach, that foam in front of the waves. That in this case, it wasn't so much foam coming. It was just dirt. It was debris. Yeah. It was pulverized office material, whatever it was. And right behind that was more solid debris. That was making that roar. And I saw that coming up, and I saw a guy maybe 25, 30 yards out in front of me go to his knees as it hit. And the puff went past him, and that roar, and I was like, I'm ready. I was at peace. And it's strange you can be at peace at that moment. And if you told me like now, sorry, Erik, you've got 5 minutes to live, I'd be freaking out. Like, but at that moment, I was at peace. I was like, all right, and now's the time. And then the war ended, and literally, I got covered in dust.
Yeah.
It was a off-white gray dust, and I see this guy. He's still on his knees. He looks like a statue almost, like a gray statue. He's still on his knees, so I go running up to him, as does EMT from a private ambulance that was doing initial triage. Everybody was stepping up, and went up to him. I put my hand on his shoulder, and he went and just fell over him. Just whoop, and the EMT did the quick check and just shook his head. And we left him. What are you going to do? He got left there for a little time. So, yeah, Tom, I am extremely lucky to be alive. I can count. I can. If I was a cat, I burned.
A cat.
If I was a cat, I could tell you I burned a large number of my lives over the years. Cancer was one of them, right? I mean, that was just a default. That congestive heart failure was another one, and that all for me goes back to this incident. This event, this national tragedy. It's going to have victims, down the line in 4 years.
It was one of those things where, like, I remember, with other social workers just going, well, let's go donate blood. That's something that we can do. And then when we did, they were like, oh, no, we don't need that. The blood banks are good. Like they would take it, but it's like, it's not. They explained to us how the loss of life was.
Yeah, it wasn't like there were a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
You, generally speaking, you didn't make it or you made it. There was very little. There were a few incidents of in between, and that's part of the tragedy. Yeah. But these are things that I believe that, as an American, as a New Yorker, driving that van down, I guess it was coming down second, right? Because first is uptown, third is uptown, second is downtown.
Mm-hmm.
We're driving down 2nd Avenue, you've got to Houston Street. And I know if you're a Texan, it's Houston, but New Yorkers can't pronounce it, so we say Houston.
And is that the reason why?
I don't know.
Or was it somebody's name?
I'm just sure it's I'm just sure it's New York, just as, And we got down to Houston, and there are 2 civilians directing traffic, getting emergency vehicles south. And I look and I see a shopping cart, supermarket shopping cart, with a briefcase where you would stick your child, and it's a man in a business suit and a homeless man working together to direct traffic.
Yeah, it was wild shit that the city came together the way it did.
I saw that, and I turned to Michelle and went, Michelle, we're fucked. Really? Yeah. And she's like, why?
You didn't look at it as hopeful.
No, I was like, we're fucked. She's like, why? Did you see that? She goes, well, yeah, it was two civilians directing traffic. No, it's a homeless man and a businessman. All right. I go, not for nothing. I go, it'd be
Wall Street and homeless don't usually
They don't normally mix, and usually their fellow man is not the priority. Okay? It was different. Like, it was a nice gesture when we were after we had responded after that initial trauma, and we were still in that massive state of confusion. Everybody had rushed down there. There were no supplies, and you had the local grocery stores and the local delis all sending their workers out with boxes of water and sandwiches made up and everything, and just to feed us right away. I mean, it was an amazingly generous. Americans across the country came together. Yeah. And not to get too political, but I look at society today and I go, where the fuck are we now 21 years later? This was a lesson that the society could have learned. learn from.
Society learned for a little while.
They did.
And
then human nature took over.
Like human nature forgot.
Human nature defaults to being a lazy fuck when it comes to responsibility to your fellow man.
Right, or like their desires for other people's stuff, or their anger, like drives them away from what we're really here for.
So I mean, I know it had a huge impact. I still remember my son. He drew a picture. Oh God, I don't know how old Chris was back then. I'm gonna have to do math.
He was 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he drew a picture of a skyscraper with a force.
I think you still have that somewhere.
With a force shield and like a laser cannon on it. Mm-hmm. So the laser cannon would shoot down the plane, and then the force shield would protect you from debris, which was very sweet. I gotta say, it was very sweet. But that's how it was affecting kids back then. And now, and now kids today didn't just have an incident that took place on one day and it had ripples going for a few months afterwards. Kids today had COVID, which didn't have an incident date. It had an incident year.
That was one of those like long haul,
and these kids are going to suffer from that.
Yeah.
And I think that as a society, I don't know if we are prepared to deal with the responsibility that's going to land in the laps of society in general when these children, in many ways, are emotionally and psychologically changed and or stunted because they had a year plus of either remote learning or learning with masks.
Right, where their language didn't get to develop, their interpersonal...
Their ability to read emotions.
Their emotional intelligence was affected too because they couldn't read people's face.
So it's going to be a very interesting...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how sort of workplaces adapt to the needs of people.
Well,
I don't know that they always do, but
workplaces will adapt if it is more profitable for them.
Yes.
They find out things like, people who businesses that have their employees take actual vacation time get more productivity. Then they take it to the far extent of, well, if we give them, and I know the thinking behind it because I've worked in environments where the thinking is kind of like, well, listen, if we give them 3 weeks of vacation and tell them they have to take it, they'll take those 3 weeks of vacation. But if we give them unlimited vacation, they'll feel guilty and only take 2. We've done studies.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's actually true. Most of these places with because there's that.
How do you get unlimited?
Oh, there are a few firms that do unlimited vacation.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, listen, I'm gonna tell you a true story.
Uh-huh.
And this has been shown in the and it's the reason why the NYPD does it. The NYPD for the uniformed members of the service, or in other words, police officers at all ranks, from PO through 1-star chiefs, 2-star chiefs
and
above.
School safety and traffic get it too? No.
So police officers through the rank of a 1-star chief. After a 2-star chief, they are hired by contract. So they are still uniformed members of the service, but they are hired by individual contracts, so they are a civilian. It's a weird position. I had a chief try to explain it to me. I was like, okay. But here's the deal. I had unlimited sick. When I had Hodgkin's, the job kept me out for 11 months. Those 11 months, I did not burn any of my vacation time. I actually accumulated vacation time.
Nice.
I didn't get any of my chart days, but I got paid for 11 months. But because the NYPD has unlimited sick, but it has unlimited sick but it has a system of unlimited sick, which it puts you on like a chronic step, and there's a system to it that's based upon incidents and total number of days. So if you're not going to gain, if you're going to, sorry, if you're going to gain the system, generally speaking, you went out and twice a year you went out your 2 administrative days, which you didn't have to see a doctor, and then the third day you went to see the department doctor, the surgeon, and the surgeon would go, you have cold symptoms, whatever. You go, all right, I'll give you the rest of the week. You get your 5 days. And you could do that twice a year and never become chronic. Once you became chronic, though, details were very hard to come by because nobody wants somebody who went chronic. I could be out for 11 months, and I had to explain to another sergeant, I go, I wasn't chronic. She's like, you have to be chronic. I go, why? You were on 11 months. I go, one incident.
Oh, wow.
One single incident. Not chronic.
Nice.
Now, other departments, I think NASA is 20 sick days a year, and you can accumulate sick days.
Holy shit!
Now, remember, Rach, these are jobs we, get injured or in contact.
Yes.
But now, if somebody in like another one of those departments, so say they accumulate, 80 sick days. That's good for 4 months? And they're going to be out for another 5 months? They got to go out on like long-term sick. They go out on, workman's comp or something like that? Mm-hmm. Never happens to us. The average number of sick days taken by NYPD officers was 4 days less per year than if they had put them on. You've got 20 sick days.
Wow.
Now, a lot of these departments, they give you these actual sick days. You can cancel out. You can cash out your unused ones at 50% value when you retire. So that's another, but that's not all departments. No.
Yeah, like I worked at a place. You could accrue sick and you could accrue vacation and carry over year after year. And that was good because, like, if you ever had something happen to you,
right?
You had all that time in your bank to be able to use if something major happened, but never, like 20 sick days. No.
Yeah.
Probably the max I heard of was like 8 6 days or something, and then three personals, and then I had another job where it was like 5 personal / sick. So those shits covered, like, those 5 days covered
everything.
And it was crappy shit. So I'd be like, okay, I won't just take 2 hours here, 2 hours there,
Yeah. Now, Tom says increased overdoses and higher alcohol consumption. Mm-hmm. Lots of long effects to COVID. Now, here's the thing. The increased overdoses were already increasing prior to COVID.
Yes, because of the fentanyl issue. And then now, it's not only fentanyl and carfentanil, but there's also, trank being put into the heroin now. The trank is like a barbiturate or like a benzodiazepine that is like a tranquilizer, and it potentiates like the heroin or the fentanyl. So like it makes it stronger, and like there's synergistic effects with these downer drugs. Yeah. And so that's why it
heightens the experience.
Yeah, well, like you get a stronger you get a stronger high.
That was the holy crap. So here we're gonna go off this topic and go on to a completely different topic. Which, I find this extremely interesting because I'm a type 2 diabetic. I try to eat better. I don't always eat perfectly well. We know that. When it comes to like alcohol, Rach has seen it. I only drink the light beers now. Good beers are such. Oh God, maybe I'll drink some good beers next weekend at ShireCon. When I say good beers, I mean like real beers. But this summer, my blood sugar, I don't want to say it was out of control, but it was higher than usual. I was probably running an average of 25 to 30 points higher than what had been my usual. My usual was under pretty good control. And I was trying to figure out why, because it wasn't like my eating habits had changed. But if I'd have a meal that would be like a bad meal, like we go down and we split a chicken quesadilla and then get a salad with it, I could see my blood sugar spike 100 120 points before coming back down.
Yeah, but what about those
what
Philly cheesesteak down there?
Down like today?
No, not that one, but the one down
at the pub.
Yeah,
it had the same effect for the most part.
Okay.
So now,
as the quesadilla.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now for the last, I don't know, week and a half, my allergies have gotten better. They haven't gone away. But as opposed to waking up every morning with a large frog of phlegm in my throat and Rach going, "Are you okay?" thinking that I sound like I was dying. She's like, every morning I wake up to the bathroom, she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm just okay." Yeah, just had to get that out. Now I'm waking up and it's like a tadpole. It's a lot less over the last week and a half. And immediately when my allergies, which were horrible this summer, worse than I can recall, really ever. I mean, I was sneezing every day. I don't normally sneeze. My blood sugar started going down. I mean, I would wake up.
Your blood sugar started going up.
It went up in the summertime and went down.
Now it's down.
Now it's down. Yes. And I first noticed it one morning when I was like, "What?" I woke up, my blood sugar was like 94. Like usually, my blood sugar overnight might have gone down to 110, but then like I would get that morning dawn increase, and it'd be like I'd begun having breakfast, and I was starting at 150. But that wasn't where I was at. So now, Rach and I for lunch. What do we have for? What do we have for a late lunch today, Rach? At like 4 o'clock.
You had cheesesteak. I had chicken.
Charlie's cheesesteak.
Chicken cheese.
Okay, I got the large one, and we split like the fries.
Yeah,
the large fries
with cheesy bacon.
With cheese and bacon. And I would say, and I knew I was like, all right, I'm already starting. I said, I'm starting off low. I'd already right before that, my blood sugar had gone down to 70. So I'm like, I've got a little room to play with. This is going to be good. It was good because even starting out that low, I didn't even hit 150 with the bread and the potatoes. And now, a few hours later, I'm back to 111 for my blood sugar. So I can now go to my.
And what's nice is that we split those fries. That
yes.
You don't have to take the hit for so many.
Yeah, and it's just as filling
calories, and it's just as tasty.
But when we see
I get to have the grilled chicken and mushrooms instead of, the
what?
The steak and bacon.
Yeah,
steak and bacon.
Steak and bacon. So we go back to the endocrinologist in a week and a half, and I know my numbers for like the last 90 days are not going to look good. But I can show him the numbers for like my last couple of weeks and say there's a reason to why my numbers are down by about 30 points, and it was seasonal allergies, and I didn't even realize that. But what apparently happens, at least in my case, is that my body treats the seasonal allergies like I'm fighting off an illness or an infection, and when you have an illness or an infection.
Well, yeah, that's what the allergens kick up in your system.
What my body does is it puts sugar into the blood, to energize my body.
Immunity, I guess.
So my white cells can fight off the infection. And honestly, thank you, body, for doing so, but it really wasn't needed. So. But if you have a chance, if your insurance covers it, my insurance no longer covers it. But I guess I use GoodRx, and the meters are like $75 a month. It comes out to be. It's worth it.
It's well worth knowing, and also having that protection, like in the night.
Yeah.
Where people generally, the blood sugar does go lower.
Yep.
And it protects you against low blood sugar like events where it's so low that it's life threatening.
Right. And you don't want to get that into that position. So if you do have diabetes, again, my one insurance did cover it. It was costing me $37.50 for 3 months. But once my prescription plan changed, it was like, oh, okay, pretty much full boat. Now, you can also buy these off prescription. You can do it everywhere except for the United States, pretty much.
Huh.
The U.S. wants it by prescription, but there are places that will sell gray market. But the gray market is, again, it costs me $75 for 2 of these to get to the month, and gray market is
how much does something like Levels cost, right? Because Levels,
I think the Levels software.
Because Levels will hook you up with the sensor,
and I believe that they sell them at cost,
mm-hmm.
which I don't know what that. It's probably somewhere around the GoodRx cost.
Okay.
But I think the Levels software is $30. Now we know this from watching what's his name on
Serious
Keto. And again, folks, I am not a strict keto follower. We are not strictly keto. However, it allows me to eat lower carb to find lower carb options.
To manage. It helps him manage his sugar.
Yeah. But Steve from Serious Keto, who has a great show. If you got to watch a keto show, that's the one to watch. He uses a Levels software, which will see the impact of different foods. For him, now he's not a diabetic,
right?
So he's doing this to lose and maintain weight. Works great for him. But yeah, I think he said the Levels software is $30. I wouldn't be half bad into checking it out.
Huh. Or maybe just stay with what you got, because it already has an app, and
it does. But it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad to be able to do our own check to see what foods have what kind of effect, just to know. And then say,
we can't do that with this.
No, this won't give you that kind of
detail
charting and all that stuff. Doesn't hold that information.
Got it.
Tip Top Tap Room. I find the once a week shot levels out my blood sugar, so I don't even bother checking my blood sugar.
Yes, the Ozempic, I think.
Kind of lazy. Yeah. I'm on Jardiance, and I guess I should say I became a type 2 diabetic shortly after starting chemo. So I'm sure I was pre-diabetic before that. That just pushed my body over the edge, and type 2 always stuck since then. So my Hodgkin's was certified by the World Trade Center Health Program, which blows my mind. Somehow meant that my Jardiance is now covered by the World Trade Center Health Program. So, let's see if I get my heart meds on there, and I'll be happy.
Well, let's try.
Yes.
You haven't been there, so we got to get you there.
Climbing that mountain. What happened with Hovermail? I've been in contact with Hovermail throughout the week on topics that had nothing to do with Gamers Health. And we never discussed Gamers Health during the week, except for very early in the week. And then this morning came up, and I went, oh, shit, I got to reach out to Michael. Because I know Michael's been doing a lot of stuff with his family. So I'm guessing Michael's doing a lot of stuff with his family. Now, it happens. I'm taking the blame on that one because I should have done a follow-up. I did not, because believe me, besides 9/11 weekend being a bit of a back of the mind.
Despite the wife nagging.
You weren't nagging this week. You nagged me, and I was like, yeah, already. Like, I know, I just thought about it.
Well, now you were like, yeah, okay, I got to do it. And I'm like, okay.
I did do it then.
Oh, okay.
There. It's okay. But She's a good nagging wife. But yeah, there were a lot of moving parts this week. CTM. I think mostly on the company that shall not be named. He that shall not be named. Candyman. We'll call it. There we go. There we go. I'll just say, when it comes to Candyman, there's a lot of stuff that was going on this week, and Don and Michael were very busy and engaged in making sure things were up to snuff. Trulicity, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing about Jardiance, and I think this is one of the reasons why my heart failure specialist, he's a cardiologist, but he starts with heart failure, really likes me because when it came time for me, he wanted me to see my endocrinologist. He had a couple of recommendations. Trulicity was one of them. He wanted to have me be put on something other than insulin, and it wound up being Jardiance. And when it was Jardiance, I did my research, and I was surprised to see that at the time I was prescribed, there were doctors that were prescribing Jardiance off-label, but these were studies that were being done because they had been noticing that Jardiance was beneficial to those who had congestive heart failure. It had a significant decrease in events, and I was like, that's interesting. So when I went back to see my heart failure specialist, he goes, "Oh, what kind of medication they put you on?" I go, "Oh, Jardiance." He goes, "Really? Well, that's excellent because that has probably the best response when it comes to heart failure." I go, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I read the study that was highlighted in whatever the journal was." He goes, "You read the journal?" I go,
"In the JAMA."
I found the article. He goes, "You actually researched it?" I go, "It's a new medication for me. I'm going to research it. I want to know." He goes,
"You want to be an active part of your
care." So he goes, "That's excellent." So now, what I've seen is that Jardiance now is being prescribed to patients that don't have diabetes.
Oh.
That aren't type 2 diabetics because
they have CHF.
They have congestive heart failure.
Oh.
So, you can't be an uninformed patient. I mean,
no.
Listen, I've been saying this now probably forever, one way or another, on this channel. When I always talk about what was the pandemic, it's now the endemic, whatever, and I was never like, "Oh, CDC says get your shots. No, I always said, "Hey, listen, I'm vaxxed. I got my 2 shots. I got my booster. My situation is not your situation. Seek a medical professional, seek their advice, and be guided by such. Find someone you trust." And I do understand that sometimes we interact with doctors and medical professionals that turn us off to a medical profession. It happens.
Then you keep looking for something that's a better fit.
It happens in religion, right? It can happen.
Yeah, that's true.
It can happen in law enforcement. It can happen at your job. You know what? It's going to happen. Find someone that's a good fit. Well, I am lucky. I have so many doctors for different aspects of my life, and they're all a great fit. I can never ask for a better team. So, and they don't always agree. That's the great thing about it too.
Huh.
I have 2 cardiologists, and one is very much mask up everywhere for the big C, and or the little C now, and my other one would be like, "We're alone in the room. Do you mind? We're both vaccinated." I was like, "Take the mask off." So, but they're all on.
Everybody I have never takes the mask off.
No. Mm-hmm. I do have one that does, and he's funny about it. He's just like, "Have you read the studies?" I go, "Which ones? One for Florida?" He goes, "Oh, thank God, somebody who can think." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, yeah, but he's also. Everybody was, yes, get vaxxed. So that's the recommendation for me. I have congestive heart failure. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I am overweight. Mm-hmm. I'm also in my 50s. So
yeah, anybody with obesity and or overweight and some kind of condition and, getting older, definitely check it out. Yeah, they released the new vaccine this week. They already have it at NYU Langone.
Oh, the one that it's geared for the current incarnation.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to tell you.
I guess BA4 and BA5.
My mom,
I know they only tested it on mouses.
Well, no, that's not what I was gonna say. The
9 mice agree. Get it?
my mom's cousin, your yoga partner in crime, has COVID.
Oh no!
So.
Oh, she must be beside herself.
I understand she's miserable. But
didn't she already have one? COVID in the past?
I'm sure. I don't know.
Wait, no, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think so. She's,
we never heard of this panic. Okay.
Yeah. So, but honestly, folks, your medical care has to be geared toward you. There's no one size fits all. You're not going to go and pull a shirt off the rack and go, oh, okay, if it's good enough. Not for your medical care. So, and again, I would say before, in the case of my sister, shot number 1 gave her palpitations.
Yeah.
And then she had a cardiologist go, that's it, you're done.
No more for you.
No more for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've had enough. You've done your job. So, CTM, you know who might know something about gamers' health? Not being facetious. Derek. Something to think about.
Derek.
Yeah, Venture.
Oh.
Now, not being facetious, but green slime over one's infant child. What kind of health are we talking about here? I guess I am being a little facetious. I can't help myself. It would be interesting. Paul, I need to check with my cardiologist to see if I should get the latest booster or wait a little bit longer since I had the Rona in July.
They might say no.
Yeah, they might tell you to hold off. I know what I had the Rona in end of the year, beginning of the new year.
December,
January. And my cardiologist, I told him, he goes, oh, we got to test your antibodies. And he called me up. He goes, holy shit. I go, like, he goes, you could bathe in coronavirus and be okay right now. I'm like, really? He goes, you could drink it as a shot. I'm like, thank you, doc. That's the kind of doctor I want, who knows how to put it into good perspective.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
I'm doing shots of the Rona in memory of.
No, mind you said get it 100%.
Yeah,
get this new thing.
No, yeah, he was just like, wow. He goes, you're like immune for how long? Because I don't know. We don't know how long the antibodies last, right? We haven't.
Well, I guess we can go and check and make a plan.
We'll make a plan with the man. So.
Because I don't think they're going to invite me in for a while.
Have I ever seen V in a gamer's large? Oh, so we're talking what? Triple X? Extra large? I mean,
I've never seen him, so.
You haven't seen V?
No.
All right, I'll have to pull up one of his videos. Rach, your mind will be blown. It's just. Here's the thing. I personally like V. I have met him. I met him at my first GaryCon. Sat down for breakfast with him. Had a very good time. Very personable in person. And very over the top as an online persona. So, it's going to be interesting. And
does he look caricaturish?
Yeah, it depends on the lighting. If he doesn't go with the green lighting, he looks fairly normal. I'll pull him up on one of the inappropriate characters. Actually, he has his own YouTube channel. We'll pull him up from there. Who is V? V is Vanger Santanis.
Is it Santanis or Satanis?
And I always think of a Vanger Santana and have him break out with some music. But V is here's how I'm going to explain V. He's a writer of content. His earlier adventures that he wrote and self-published, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think those initial 3 or 4 are all 8 to 9.5, top of the line shit. Then he went Porky's in Space with Alpha Blue.
Porky's in Space?
Think of the movie Porky's.
Okay.
Here, in a better way. Think of the Orville, but not turned up to 11, turned up to like 15 on your Spinal Tap dial. Not my style of gaming or entertainment, but to each their own. But V, and we say V because it's kind of it's sometimes it's kind of like Candyman. Say it 3 times in the mirror and they might come for you. But he his marketing in the last couple of years has been, in my opinion, has done him wrong. His material that he can write is much better than the schlocky marketing that he does, but he's found it to be a profitable way to market. So doesn't mean that it should need to appeal to everybody. It appeals to the audience that he needs.
Okay.
So I give him credit for that. Or it could be V for Vendetta, or it could be the original V TV series.
Oh, remember those crazy aliens?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, didn't he identify as an alien?
Yeah, he identified as a trans alien. That was one of his poor marketing.
Yeah, it sounds like that would be not such a good thing.
Shadow, I don't know if about him to have much of an opinion. However, his name worries my son to no end.
Yeah.
He named himself after the big bad evil guy, the BBEG from the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoons. Tenkar.
I don't know there was a cartoon.
We have it on DVD somewhere.
Okay.
I'll suffer. Listen, I would make you suffer through it and say, hey, look, there's Erik the Cavalier, but he spells his name with a C and he's a douchebag. So you wouldn't want to say that's my hubby.
No.
Okay. But it was a fun cartoon for the time, and in a lot of ways marked the end of the TSR that we knew back in those days, because that's when Gary went to the West Coast for TSR Media or Hollywood or Films or whatever it was. The look in my face was priceless. Oh God, I have to go back now and Rach, somewhere just over the 1 hour mark. We're gonna have to see what my priceless face was looking like. God only knows.
Well, you jumped in your seat, so
I jumped in my seat.
I saw you jump in your seat.
Gosh, what? I did not jump in my seat. Oh my God! Yeah, out of curiosity. It's been 25 minutes. Let's see what the blood sugar is at now, because I'm on the downward swing, 104.
Okay.
Which is pretty good. And then for our late night dinner after the show, we are going to probably have our Factor 75 meals. And Factor 75, if I get their keto or low carb meals, no bink on my, no increase at all in my blood sugar. It's like I never had any carbs. They're very tasty. Assuming you like
those ones are pretty calorie rich, so
now when she says
I get the calorie control.
Right. When she says calorie rich, mine will run around 600 calories. A few of the meals actually fit both low calorie and low carb.
Sometimes they overlap.
But Rachel's are usually somewhere in the upper 4s to low 5s.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shadow, I'm doing a video series on old D&D, and I'm of the opinion 2nd edition was beginning of the end of D&D. Well,
oh wow!
Here we'll go into. I think that.
Is that why we need our savior?
Yes, and the jiggly poo 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 poo. The problem with 2nd edition was 2nd edition, as it was initially released, was not a bad game. I enjoyed it. It was fun. 2nd edition with the first 4 complete player books. Complete book of, what was it, rogues, wizards, fighters, and clerics. Those were all play tested. Wasn't bad. But then they got on a Splat book train. And the complete book of elves. Steve Winter said it was never play tested. So that's why you had things like Blade Singer. And then the game started really getting out of effing control. And then at the end of 2E, we got the player options books, which were the little, let's see, can we turn this into 2.5, right? That's that half edition that came out, which is a shame, because that's right about when I stopped gaming because I was going into the academy. So I'm looking forward to your series. That's going to be an interesting one. Again, I probably played more 2nd edition than I played any other RPG. Next would be 1st edition, but 1st edition is my true love, my precious. And if I knew back then what I know now, I probably would never have started playing 2nd edition. Would have saved my money. Would have just bought the material and used it with the 1E rules, but that's not how we rolled back then, right? Everybody wants the newest and the greatest. There's probably a whole thing into that. So now, Rach, it's all been about me, Rachy. You got anything that hates?
Yeah. This week is Thomas's anniversary of his passing. Right. Of course, we didn't know about it.
Yeah.
At the time, we were notified by the police.
Thomas is her brother.
Yeah, sorry.
One of her brothers.
Yeah, and it was just a process to be able to get his remains.
Yeah.
That took. Oh my God. Holy shit. I think it took until December, late November or early December to get his remains back from the funeral place, because it took a long time. They were trying to track down a family in Connecticut, and then the coroner's office called me trying to be able to identify my brother, and so I had to go to this crazy lab a state away, two bridges or a tunnel and a bridge away. And which is a big deal, because you think you have everything in New York City.
Not this case.
No. So I had to go to Secaucus, New Jersey to have a DNA test done to identify my brother, and for them to, the coroner's office, to compare. And so that was a painful time. But, we have him now in the room next door.
My son has no clue when he's
No. And Shannon doesn't either.
Oh, right.
I would never, we won't, that's our secret.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Be very, very quiet. Nothing will happen. Yeah. Also, though,
and I also, this week was a good week for me, or it's been more than just a week, but I'm very happy to have gone down several pant sizes, jeans sizes, in the last bit of time. So yeah, I was big. I was like, I don't know. I'll say it. I don't care. No shame in my game. They can know how big I was. So I was wearing 22 jeans, and so now today I ordered the other earlier in the week I ordered jeans from Macy's, and I was able to order 16. So and they fit nicely now. So like he keeps telling me, "Oh, you have to get rid of those jeans; they're too big on you." And so that's always nice to hear. And I do want to keep. I figure it's a meditation in attachment to things. So as I keep going down, I can donate everything that's too big.
Right. And honestly, folks, that's something that's it's
I haven't
literally
fit into a 16 in a long time.
It's literally huge because
literally huge.
because here's the thing, and I know this from somebody who has had my weight fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, I am good on losing weight, but I don't want to get rid of my fat boy clothes because if I get rid of my fat boy clothes, I need them.
You're like, what if I fuck this up?
But
no, it's like you've learned. I've learned the skills now. I know how to. If I have like, a couple days where I have some sort of rich thing or where I'm not watching the calories as much. Right. I'm not going to town and like abusing food, but where I'm less focused, I know how to refocus and what to do. Should I have weight creeping in, and then just reset myself and just keep going. So these things can go.
So here's something. I'm going to hold this up here. So this is hop tea. Comes in a variety of flavors. I happen to like the black tea myself, but Rach does not.
I think the hop in it is too strong for me.
But hop tea, if I was like, you can't drink alcohol ever again, it'd be hop tea and ginger beer for me. I mean, because they do hit some of those notes that you want and you need. So there is 0 carbs, 0 calories, nothing artificial. It is made with organic water, in this case, organic white tea, and hops.
It's usually a more citrusy
lemon drop and Simcoe. So
yeah, it's usually a more lemony, and not lemony, but like it's usually a lighter, more citrusy, or in other teas like a more flowery kind of hop. And those ones I like. I don't know what they're using in the black tea, but that's too.
I think it tastes more like an IPA.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeffrey has a question for you.
Uh-huh.
A question for Rachel. Is it possible to start with a keto diet and then when you lose the pounds and hit your target weight, can you switch to low fat and keep the weight off safely?
I don't think so. Because I think they're almost like opposing theories.
Yeah, you
where like keto to me, I've never done like a keto diet, but
you did Atkins in the back.
I did Atkins back in the day, but when I went back on bread, I started to gain more weight and crave sugars more, and that kind of thing.
There's a rebound on that one.
Yeah, it's really hard to sustain. So that's the reason why I use just calories in, calories out, and just try to eat the most whole foods possible. And I tend not to really enjoy meat like steak. I know chicken is meat, but I tend to enjoy like lighter meats like chicken, fish, or shellfish.
Right.
Those kinds of things just naturally have been flavors that I favor. So, where like Erik tends and his family tend to enjoy more of the meat. My family tends to enjoy more meat, like dark, like
right.
Beef, meat,
yeah. But here's the thing too.
and like sausages, like kielbasa. That's another thing that's very heavy in like fats and things like that.
Here's the thing too, when you're looking at like the keto diet. Again, we're not strictly keto. Even when Rach and I were really watching the carbs together, because
we have never, when we've been together, we've never used macros. We've never counted carbs.
Right. But when I came out of the hospital, we knew I had to change my diet, and
we knew sugars were no good. We knew we had to curtail salt usage, so we got it all out of the house.
Pastas, bread.
Yeah.
So
we had to go for more like proteins and
look, we don't do
veggies.
We don't do fat bombs. We don't do chaffles.
No.
I've never made a chaffle yet.
Nah, I don't really. I don't really crave it.
And a chaffle is basically a waffle that is cheese based.
Like cheese and eggs.
We've seen
I love cheese and eggs, but I don't know.
Yeah.
A waffle is supposed to be something different to
right.
me.
So, but now that being said, Pam's pancakes are...
Those are good for both of our
diet
styles.
Yeah. These are high protein, low fat, low carb pancakes. Pancake mix, you're just adding water. My son could tell something was off. He still ate them when he was over. It was a busy week. My son was here for the week.
But he caught us trying to pass him off.
we also gave him sugar-free syrup. So
maybe that really...
Either one could have. But my niece, we made her Pam's pancakes. She wanted more.
Yeah, she liked it a lot.
She really enjoyed it. You've got to find stuff that you can stick with. Listen,
and those cereals, like the Magic Spoon, that also works nicely for both of us.
But Magic Spoon is not cheap. Okay, you're not going to be doing Magic Spoon.
Oh, Catalina Crunch, that's not cheap either. But
you can get it. You can get Catalina Crunch. You can get 4 bags for like $30 on Amazon. We actually just got the berry flavor directly from the manufacturer.
And I like the question that he asked about can you start with a carb, lose the weight, and then return to go to like a low fat kind of thing. The quickness of how you lose the weight, that's something that I learned about. When I did Atkins, I lost like 60 pounds on it, and I didn't, it came off very quickly, and I didn't know, it wasn't like I learned to eat any different. It was like, okay, this is what I'm doing because I want to, get into this, or,
all right, once I get my goal.
Once I get to my goal, it's going to be fine, and it's really not.
That was my experience with Atkins back
because
in 20
I
years
stayed on
ago.
induction like for 6 months at least.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I could not do that. Wow. Paul, have a great night, Eric.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was a way to start incorporating a lot of that, like other foods, Yeah,
it's hard.
So I was dependent on like Atkins bars and.
Rach, thanks for sharing experience, Erik. Rach, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
He says he sent some recipes for low carb recipes for when the weather gets cooler.
Cool.
Shadow and Sun, sugar is a hard habit to kick.
Yeah.
And the harder habit too, and even this was explained to me by a nutritionalist when I was in the hospital for my congestive heart failure, because I was ordering like diet sodas with my meals, and he called me up on the phone. He's like, "Listen, yes, it's better for your blood sugar to get the diet over the regular. Why don't you get the iced tea? It's unsweetened." And he goes, and I'm sorry, we only have Splenda, and I'm not going to send you Splenda.
Oh,
he said that.
He's like, you're going to have to get your taste buds used to.
Yeah. So now there are other sweeteners that are monk fruit, stevia,
more natural,
more natural, allulose,
from grapes, I think.
Right. So these are ones that you can use but you're going to have to figure out where your sweet spot is. We were in Big Lot stores when we went to the Poconos, and I found low carb muffin mixes and brownie mixes. Um, if you want to be clean with your diet, whether it is keto or paleo, what's his name? Flav.
Bobby
Flav. He has a YouTube channel. He has an app. The app is free. You can scan products. He worries about the oils that are going to be inflammatory.
Yes.
Whether things are organic.
If you could avoid certain sugars that might be coming in a certain packaged food.
Yeah. Jeffrey was like, I was mortified when I used to get low-fat frozen dinners, and while they were low-fat, they were bombed with saturated sugars to improve the flavor.
Yes.
Yep. You don't even get me started in the amount of salt they pour into those meals as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that hidden salt. So I generally cook without salt. Now, there are some recipes out there where they tell you have to add salt. It's part of the process. It won't cook up properly. Otherwise, sometimes in baking, you need that little bit of salt. Fine. But generally speaking,
we do have the
Himalaya
pink salt.
Salt in a grinder.
To grind, and that's less. It's safer than the other, like the not the bleach salt, or how do they call it?
Iodized.
Yeah.
By the way, climbing that mountain. If I really want to get a gamer who's in great physical shape, actually, I know of two that are in amazing physical shape. One is Jeff Talanian, and I don't know. I could ask Jeff.
Oh yeah, how does he do it?
But another one, Peter DeOrto, the personal trainer,
or Skeeter,
or Skeeter, but Peter is a personal trainer, and Peter does a lot of work on the GURP system for Steve Jackson games. He was part of my B team. If you ever want to be on the B team, it's old blog posts from before I retired. My Friday night games, I was running once a week. It was Peter and Tim Schwartz and Douglas Cole, and occasionally Joe the Lawyer. Just a great way to run an occasional system, but also great people. And listen, again, I get along with V. I happen to like a lot of what V's work. However, he is, in my opinion, a shock jock 20 years past shock jockery. Okay? It's not aging well. Is
he a fit individual?
He looks pretty fit.
Oh, okay.
I haven't looked at his belly, but But honestly,
so he doesn't look like a Dorito muncher.
No. But as I can like the guy and still say he's unpredictable enough that I don't know what would actually go on a live stream. So if it was something like a pre-record and you guys would not be part of it, then you would be able to comment afterwards. It's different, but there are just some people that are not predictable enough, and that's his online persona. Like I said, in person, very personable. Online persona, I don't know if I could throw that out there live.
Right.
There's those points when you go.
He might be too impulsive. His online personality might be too impulsive.
Yep. Tom is now one of your minions too in your game. There we go.
Yay.
Night, Tom. Climbing the mountain. Sorry to hear of your loss, Rach.
Thank you.
Yeah, the problem with V are not his health. This is from Jeffrey. They are his mindset and his inability to channel unmeaningful dialogue. He's a bad choice by that virtue that he oftentimes needlessly overdramatic. And again, like I said, I get along with him on a personal level. It's just, I mean, he draws He's the fly that draws shit to him. And that's because he does the, Mr. Carter, look at me. And again, he does what he needs to do to sell the material he needs to sell. Just not a very good fit for this live stream. Also, watch out for the cricket flower. That I don't want to know about. I don't want to know about. Don't want to know about. If it's got crickets in it, no. But here's the thing, CTM. It's not only about physical health. It's emotional, spiritual, right? Mental. Your health as a gamer is multi-leveled and multifaceted. And, that being said, you want to bring people in. If we're going to bring on a guest, and we have brought on guests, they've been few and far between, because we want to bring on guests that are going to bring a positive energy to the show, not get people that I'm going to have to say, Reach, you keep on talking as I go find a way to ban this last jackass. I go, he's going to start heckling. So I can already think of at least 2 people who
one or two names.
I'm not going to name them,
no,
but they are extreme stalkers, and I know one would definitely, definitely George, definitely be here to do that. Yeah, if he can only stay focused on gaming health without diverging into his own personal world of weirdness and self-embarrassment. Yeah, I would personally, my expectation would be there would be some talk of the world of Cha'alt or Alpha Blue or whatever. It will go into the marketing. I don't believe it's in him to not do so. Just like the pundit, you never see the pundit's face. You just see a list of his you see the books he most recently published. So you can listen to the pundit, who often says some very intelligent things, which whether you agree with him or not, but it's all about marketing his books. So I need to do a better job marketing. Jeffrey, I saw an infomercial about cricket flower, and that is a new thing, but yikes. No way.
What is this?
It's flour made from crickets.
So it's true. You will eat bugs and be
happy. Be happy. Can I have my cricket pancakes, please? No. Wow. Tom, Ari, online persona in your broadcast. The doors we to be on the Ed Sullivan Show live TV, and a proud producer told them to edit a word in the song. Yeah, I do remember something about that.
Yeah,
Morrison just sang it the way he wanted it, and when confronted by the producer, said, "You will never be on the Ed Sullivan Show again." To which Morrison responded, "We already were on the Ed Sullivan Show." Right, so
he got the gold one.
Got it there. All right, folks. I do believe we are hitting on the witching hour. It is 90 minutes.
Oh.
Thank you all. Honestly, this is the kind of conversation that we want.
Yeah, definitely.
It is certainly mind. A lot of times it opens our minds to different thoughts. Yeah. Our minds are one. It's the Vulcan mind, mellow rage. I would love to see Rachel maybe put up some of her recipes that she uses at home cooking. Rach, you want to give that one up? Go ahead. Hi, I'm the one that does the cooking.
Yeah, breakfast is generally cooked by Erik.
Yeah, and
if we're up early enough.
Yeah,
and then it's like the magic spoon or somebody's cereal
or pancakes
whatever.
Yeah,
and then our main, our main meal tends to be what do you say? The Factor 75.
Or I cook, and yes,
he'll do like the cauliflower rice with some chicken and veggies and comes out brilliant.
I make
You'll really like
I
it.
do make a faux fried rice using low sodium soy sauce, cauliflower rice. It could be frozen or it could be packaged. The ones that heat up in a microwave.
Yeah. And then I eat like fruit and stuff, and then like I always have a stash of like frozen fruit for whenever I want to make like sorbet and stuff like that. That's my
Rach is in charge of
the creamy stuff,
the desserts area.
Yeah, the dessert stuff.
But
and then probably about 3 to 4 times a week we have a meal from the pub, which is usually like a salad. Yeah. And I bring my own.
She brings her own dressing.
To that, and yeah,
Skinny girl.
So and then I don't generally order things with red meat. It's usually like a salad with like a meat that's lower in calories, like shrimp or generally chicken. Yeah, or chicken.
But here's the thing. There was a period where I was probably cooking dinners either from scratch or from the Home Chef collection, probably 5 times a week. And I've done it like if we have family coming over, and when the big holidays, we will cater from the pub because they make amazing food.
And because we go to the pub doesn't mean that
she doesn't drink.
I don't keep pace with my husband.
No, she doesn't drink.
I don't drink there, and so it's funny. Like if I do have like a shot of something, everybody's like so excited. They're like, "Well, I have to have a shot too,"
Yeah.
And it may be once a week. It may be, it might be longer because I don't want to use those calories when I can have like 26 pretzels when I come home, or in front of TV at night or whatever. And just doing it like that.
But I
don't really drink.
I am not a bad, I'm not gonna say chef, but I am not a bad cook. Breakfast I can do. I do omelets. I could do half blind and half in a bag if I had to. Yeah. But
I'm happy to cook, but we just haven't been cooking at all, really.
But really, what it comes down to is I actually do enjoy the process of cooking. I enjoy the stove, so I enjoy playing with the stovetop. I enjoy using our.
I'm the cleaner.
Yeah, Rach's the cleaner. You wouldn't want me to be the cleaner. Okay. First, you don't want me to be the cleaner, whether it's a cleaner in cleaning the house or the cleaner in the. You don't want me being the cleaner, but we have our Ninja oven, which is great for 2 people for cooking. If you want to cook food a little bit quicker with an oven that doesn't need time to preheat, it is spot on.
But yeah, I'd like to cook more.
Yeah.
But and as I do, definitely I'll I could put something up, and be able to show it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we could have like a video that we incorporate into here.
But if you are going
something like that.
If you are going to play in the kitchen, right? Whether it's as a cook, a chef, just playing in the kitchen, and you were trying to be healthier, maybe we'll put this list up for next week. Oh, not next week. Next week we're at a con, so we'll have something to show, but it won't be like this. But we have more spices, more seasonings that you can take a stick at.
Yes.
Because even when I was getting meals that were cook yourself meals, but they gave you the spices, you gotta watch the sodium, right? And I would open them up and I would do that. Like nobody, trust me, nobody these days checks any. Is it really cocaine? Yeah, it's really cocaine. No, we don't do that. But I'll do that with spices. And I'll go, because you can taste that salt. Once you stop putting salt on everything, you can taste the salt. And I'll go, okay, this seems like a little Creole with a little Caribbean lime seasoning. And I'll mix together and get something that is within spitting distance of the original spices that came with whatever my food preparation kit was, and I'm not going to take their sodium.
Right.
Just not going to do it.
The food that we have now, the Factor 75s,
they're pretty. You
don't have to add spices, and there's
more
times more
sodium
most of the time more sodium than if you cooked on our own
than I would like. Yeah. But the Factor 75 meals, and I will say this honestly, are as good as going out to a decent restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, you eat these meals, and first off, I used to always believe that if I ate a prepared meal, I would never feel full. I often go, "Wow, I actually ate it all," because it was a lot. But it was 600 calories, but it looked like a 1,200 calorie plate when you're trying to get through it. They do a great job with it. They're very tasty, well done meals. But again, whenever we get our meals, they give me, oh, you can give away meals. I never even think about mentioning it on the show. Maybe we'll one day figure out a way to give out these cards. So you guys, if you want to try it, you get a few free meals to try it.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about that.
Oh, is that the cards that come in the box with it? Yeah. I never read it.
Yeah, those are the ones I always just go.
Yeah, I just put them in the recycle.
But especially once you start going on a weekly basis and actually choosing from the menu, you don't take what they choose for you. You choose your own menu. You can really
that really customizes it to be things that you're gonna really enjoy.
Yeah, but I enjoy cooking. I enjoy my time in the kitchen, and it's times I go to Rach and go, what are we looking for? I'll do the low carb spaghetti with the konjac noodles. Make my own meat sauce, whatever else. Or I'll make the konjac as a vegetable with a vegetable pasta. There's a lot of things you can do. I treat cooking much like I treat like going on a trip. I don't stress over getting lost. I don't stress over screwing up a little bit because I'm sure I can fix it. As long as I don't burn it. Anything short of that is pretty good. All right. Well, folks, on that note, again, thank you for spending the eve before 9/11 with me. It means a lot. I get the feedback that you all appreciate the support that we give you. I personally appreciate the support that you give us. It really does mean the world. It moves the world, and on some level. So again, thank you. Next weekend, we are going to be at ShireCon. There will be something. I will figure it out that day, whether we're going to pre-record it or we're going to do it live. It'll probably be via my iPad. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But we'll have something for you. And then maybe in 2 weeks, Michael Hovermail, if we can both, get on the same page. My fault. But it was a busy week this week. Holy crap. The ball's being juggled from the people that I know, my friends, including myself. Amazing. All right, folks. I already mentioned about the endemic, the pandemic. It's common sense, right? You know what that means.
You know what to do.
Robert Roberts, you arrived late.
Oh, but good to see you.
You'll have to watch the replay. So you'll have to watch the replay. Be safe, be well, God bless. And I do mean that, each and every one of you.
Thanks again. Take good care.
Roll them well. I think the dice I'm going with ShireCon are the dice that literally rolled out from underneath my desk.
Well, I think they came from Strategist.
I don't know, but they certainly said, "Hey, time.
I'm going
with you." So, all right, folks. Thank you much.
Bye.
Good night.